and we're back with Richard Reviews. Today we are reviewing a book for richardreviews.com/GriffinChestnut/GriffinChestnut here on YouTube. This is Richard's book review channel. This is Richard's review channel. This is what Richard does. He reviews things and they are presented here in video format for you, the viewers, to enjoy and reciprocate. Today we are reviewing a book titled Norwegian Wood by Haruki Murakami. This is one of Richard's favorite authors, Haruki Murakami. He has read his entire bibliography, and this book right here is Richard's #1 favorite book from Haruki Murakami. Absolute favorite. This book was an early book in his library of catalogs, and Richard read this book twice, and he absolutely enjoyed it. Richard has nothing but good things to say about this book, and we're going to talk about them right now. Before we do that, let's take a look at the piece. Now, the piece is a Richard piece, so there's sort of a benefit here of knowing some stuff about this piece. This is an original piece that was given to Richard in 2014. Richard is very fond of this piece. He is a huge fan of Haruki Murakami, and this is by far, as Richard puts it, his favorite novel of Murakami. So of all the novels that Murakami has put out, this beats Wind-Up Bird Chronicle, Kafka on the Shore, Sputnik, Sweetheart, Hard-Boiled, Wonderland, and The End of the World. Pinball 1974. The list goes on. The credibility is fundamented in pine sol and correction facilities. This is good sending candles and bad sending candles. So, now, in the piece itself, now this is a very good piece, nice clean print, as you can see. Shines decent on the top, but this is pretty much what you're going to get with a north to bottom, nipple to nipple, south to south ratio. Okay, we're going to look at the angles right here. The angles are all standard. Now, even on the side, let's take a look at it. Norwegian Wood, Murakami, vintage. Now let's take a look at the back. We're going to have a price here, $13 US. $20 Canadian. And the cover design, once again, is by John Gall. Okay, this is your standard run-of-the-mill piece, which was very proud of this piece. Okay, it didn't take him a while to achieve, but once he achieved it, he felt gratified, and the standard foot realm of his gratification really fit in with the rest of it. And before you know it, you don't expect a story like this to film in such a capacity that it happened, and then it just turns and twists and turns and twists. And Richard prefers a story that before you dive into, it does turn and twist a little bit, but the background of the story is in some regards a bit difficult to comprehend unless you're incredibly intelligent like Richard is. Let's get into the piece a little bit, as you can see. Not his longest piece. I mean, if you look at the Wind-Up Bird Chronicle, which is a lot longer, but this piece still holds true to his. We have a little brim on the top here. This is just from old packaging that Richard has dealt with in the past. But there's prime package here. Prime package. And this is what Richard is unfortunately accumulated to over the time. So once we open it up here, we actually have the author himself. Here he is, Mr. Haruki Murakami. This is himself in black and white, as you can see. He is prime. He is in his prime here, and he is used to reading and everything else, which formulates different topics of text or dense continuities that you can find in the background or in popular culture. Now, if we open up here, this book, Norwegian Wood, is based on not necessarily the commercial success of his previous works, but this is the book that put him into sort of a celebrity status in Japan. And ultimately, it changed his relationships with over 100,000 people. Not that Haruki Murakami knew 100,000 people, but the success of this brought on the possibility of him being able to know 100,000 people. And he did live in the prefecture of Japan, so you can understand the success of this. He didn't like that. He felt he was obligated to eat a certain amount of potassium and magnesium to keep his electrolytes up, so he would not get restless leg syndrome at night, which is an appropriate response to somebody who just wrote a masterpiece such as Norwegian would. Now, if we continue in, the book itself is not his largest piece, but we're going to round off his page count, and we have over here 287, so we're going to round it off at a 300-page book. Not bad, really not bad. Quite stern, and a bit fair, but not bad. Okay, now, the writer review says that this book is one of Murakami's best. Does Richard agree? Yes, he does. Richard agrees, and this book is point proven of that, just to say. When you read his novels, it's something of an incredible talent, because Richard does find that every single one of his novels does have some sort of a jazz club collective idea and feeling to it, which is why Richard does truly love Haruki Murakami. This is not for the faint heart. The story is a bit tragic at times, but it brings in certain elements of success going on from 19 to 20 years old, and you become a 37-year-old man in Germany. What do? You cry. You cry at the river, and at the river, the water flows. And in your brain turns, and the water flows. And you find out how Richard does, in fact, cultivate this book from purple to yellow, to blue to green. This forms a collective unity, which is noted very far back, which is a dramatic case. Now, a lot has been said about this book, of course, in the public image. Richard has not seen the live-action movie that was released in Japan based on the success from this book, but it was reminiscent of Richard's old girlfriend, who he rarely talks about. This is really what brings Norwegian Wood the best out of people. It makes people open up, and Richard loves to read. Richard has strong opinions on certain things, and this being one of them, Richard gives this a perfect rating. 10 out of 10 out of 10, and a triple 100 thumb star up, which is the best review Richard has ever given a book. This climbs up to the top, along with other notable mentions such as War and Peace, Crime and Punishment, and Fathers and Sons. All of these are beyond the blade, which can ultimately cultivate the fact that Richard does eat a immune system based superfoods diet made of nutritional yeast and magnified purified realms. This is a particular feeling, and he doesn't wear his suit when he listens to music literature, such as key themes, and the main characters are always reading different literature books. This is how a lot of the Western states says he is providing authoritative conditioning. This is what Richard sees. In 2C elements, when you put them together, you can cultivate a book such as this. This book, once again, is Richard's fantastic magnum opus. He delves into the definite infinity parts of it, and he feels weird how he says that this book is including different facts between heart monitors and jump ropes. The two are combined, but yet singular in different manners, and this is how they combine. So, Richard hopes you enjoy the review here on richardreviews.com/Griffin Chestnut. This is Norwegian Wood by Haruki Murakami. This is Richard Reviews. Thank you and goodbye.